What's going on, guys? Jake Peffer here. Welcome back to Jake's Cinema Room. I am back with another movie review for you. Today I'm going to be looking at the latest movie from director Rob Zombie, The Munsters. Now, this is a remake of the 1960s sitcom that was pretty popular at the time, and this is essentially Rob Zombie's vision of what he sees the Munsters being. I guess he grew up a pretty big fan of the show, and now he's putting his spin on it, and it's definitely got that Rob Zombie spin to it, to say the least. This is a movie that it's interesting, is the only way I can put it. From the first release of the trailers, everybody was kind of going, what exactly is this thing? And after watching it, I can safely say it's a movie, question mark. Yeah, I don't know. This is a strange one for me. I did not have a very good time with this movie, to be honest. It is just, it's a little, I don't want to say infuriating, but it's a movie that is trying to do a lot, and unfortunately, at least to me, fails on a lot of those things that it tries to execute. And it's just, unfortunately, it's Rob Zombie. You know, I like the guy. He's a good musician, but when it comes to making movies, I just don't, there's something about the way he directs movies that I am just not a big fan of. You know, I do like some of his movies. I think The Devil's Rejects is a pretty solid horror movie. Outside of that, you know, his Halloween remake it's not great, but it's not bad. That sequel, however, is pretty bad. House of a Thousand Corpses is not very good. 31's pretty bad. Three from Hell's not great either. The only one of his I haven't seen is Lords of Salem, which I hear is one of his better made movies. So I will have to check that out sometime. But yeah, I don't know. It's just his style of direction is very odd to me. And his vision for the Munsters is definitely an interesting vision, to say the least. It's not to say that this is a complete failure. It's just, I don't know. I don't even really know how to describe this movie, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of all over the place. It's a movie that doesn't quite know its tone. I mean, it's definitely a comedy for sure, but I don't really recall laughing very often. This is just, it's not a very funny movie. You know, it's got some horror elements, quote unquote, but I mean, it's really not a horror movie. This is definitely the most different movie we've ever gotten from Rob Zombie. I'll at least give him credit there. It is not like any of his other movies. The set direction, the costuming, all of that, makeup and everything like that looks fantastic. I think the movie itself actually looks good, and it does actually capture pretty well the look of that old TV show. Despite that show was in black and white, this movie is very colorful, and the colors actually pop very well. There's just, I don't know, it's, like I said, it's not very funny. The movie has a lot of pacing issues. For this to be, it's just under an hour and 50 minutes. I think it clocks in, an hour 49. And it's, oh man, it feels so much longer. It just feels like it takes so long to get going and get to where it wants to go, that by the time you get there, it's just like, okay, this is, you know, this was a thing. And I don't know really why I watched it. In reality, it feels like the pilot to a sitcom. And that might have been what Rob Zombie was going for. You know, this feels like it's setting up a pilot for a new series of the Munsters that's going to be on Netflix or something like that. And that's great. If it ends up being a new show, maybe it'll be better than this, but I just could not get behind this movie. It was not doing it for me. The cast here, you know, you got a lot of your zombie regulars. Obviously, his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, is in the role of Lily, because whatever it is about him having to shove his wife into every single movie is beyond me. And don't get me wrong, like, there's plenty of other directors that do it as well. Judd Apatow puts Leslie Mann in all his movies. Tim Burton puts Helena Bonham Carter in all his movies. But the thing with those actresses is they're actually good actresses. Sherry Moon Zombie, I'm sorry. I've never been a big fan of hers. I don't think she's a very good actress. And here, sure, she's probably giving one of her better performances, I would say. But it's just, I don't know. There's not much to her acting ability. And, I'm not saying I'm some great actor or anything like that, but it's just in every movie that he's made and she's been a part of, which is basically all of his movies, she just hasn't come off very good, and here it's no different. Jeff Daniel Phillips plays Herman. He's probably having the most fun. I'll give him that. I am not a huge fan of his Herman Munster. It's a little too like they're making him like a stand-up comedian. And I'll be honest, I haven't really watched the original Munsters, so I'm not as familiar with how those characters are and how they interact and everything. I don't know if this is how that character acted on the show. If it is, that's fine if they're trying to do it. But here it just comes off as corny, and it just doesn't, it never really gets a lot of laughs, at least for me personally. You also have Daniel Roebuck, who's playing two different characters here. He plays a guy on a television show, but then he plays the Count, who is the father of Lily. And his performance is probably the best. I'll give him credit there. He's doing a good job. He's probably got the least amount of comedy that he's really doing, but he's putting in a pretty decent performance. Richard Brake shows up here as the doctor that brings Herman to life. He's a zombie regular. That guy, he's usually always good in pretty much everything he pops up in. I got to give a shout out to my guy Jorge Garcia, Hurley himself from Lost. He actually gave me the most chuckles, if anything, in this movie. He's playing Richard Brake's kind of right-hand man in the movie. And there's some other people peppered in and out throughout the movie, but overall it's mainly Lily, Herman, and the Count that you're getting the majority of the scenes with. And like I said, it's nothing great from any of their performances, but I guess they're fine for the most part. Like I said, if they're emulating these characters how they were from that TV show, that's great. It just doesn't come off very well for me in this movie. Like I said, it's a great looking movie, but I just don't like Zombies' style of filmmaking. It's just, I don't think it really works for these characters. It's two styles that I don't think blend well together, and unfortunately what we get here is just a poorly executed movie in my opinion. Overall, I would have to give the Munsters about a 3 out of 10. Like I said, it just didn't work for me. Nothing that they wanted to execute really worked out all that well. A couple okay performances, great looking movie, great set design, great costumes, makeup, all that good stuff. It's just everything else falls flat. It's not very funny. It's really badly paced, and you just, it tries a little too hard. And I think that's its biggest downfall, is if it maybe would have taken things a little easier, it may not have suffered so much from, being all that bad. But yeah, that's about it for me, guys. If you have seen the Munsters, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews in the future. I'll leave all my links in the description below on where you can follow me and check out some of my other reviews. And until next time, I'll catch you all later.